Everybody got their lower thirds loaded?
Fuck no.
I'm glad Ray and I actually spent time doing this shit.
Ooh,
Oh, yeah, Ray.
look at that thing. Woo!
Look at
Ray. Sorry, Joe, I don't have my shit
It
either,
looks
Ray. I'm
friggin' awesome. I
sorry.
need to.
I appreciate the effort, though.
Yeah, man, we'll get there one day. Maybe it'll be third season. Who knows?
I like it, though. It looks good.
It does look
Yeah.
great.
Hey, Ray, if it makes you feel better, I made the intro music at the beginning of the first season, and we haven't used it yet.
I heard
did
it. I heard
use
it on one of the
used it
episodes.
once. Used it once.
I
I
Did we?
want George Bush with a thumbs up.
The flight suit. You know what? Next week I'm gonna put it up on the big screen, man. I'm gonna have George Bush in his
Yeah,
flight
that would be
suit.
awesome.
You got it, man. That's
Yeah,
the
that'd be
next,
awesome.
that's the next image.
Can that run video?
Oh yeah, it's just it's cable or Xbox, man. It's my projector, you know.
What the hell's on there now?
Actually,
Trailer
that is
park?
this guy was actually my third grade hero, Mr. Jim Thorpe, but it's the drunk history version.
Oh, good.
Used to love this guy, man. I was like in third grade and I picked up his biography and he was a man, dude. Jim Thorpe still is a man. I still think he's the man.
What is he famous for?
He was a Native American athlete who he's in the Olympic Hall of Fame, the College Football Hall of Fame, the College Baseball or Baseball Hall of Fame. One of the greatest athletes of I don't know, like the late 1800s. He was a Native American dude, and he actually, when he won all his Olympic medals, somebody had stolen his shoes, and he used shoes that he picked out of the garbage to complete like the hurdles, long jump, javelin toss. He completed half the Olympics with some thrown out shoes.
He's
Oh,
like
wow.
Bo Jackson.
Be
He's like
resourceful
one of
right there.
these. Bo Jackson before Bo Jackson, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he's a dude, man.
That's pretty cool.
The broadcast did start, by the way. I don't know if we'd.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to talk about turn of the century sports and Jim Thorpe. I hope everybody enjoys our current live weekly broadcast of the news, you know?
I have not. I'm not gonna lie. The last article I read was one that Ray put up there about the Russians coming to help Ferguson.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's
That
crazy.
was on
Man. It was on RT though, so that's kind of reputable.
Oh, okay, I thought maybe it was from The Onion.
No,
Kind of like
the
how
article sounded like it would be right out of Onion. Right? In fact, some of the comments said, "Is this an Onion article?"
yeah.
Did you hear what happened today in Russia though? They crossed the border into Ukraine with actual tanks
They're moving tanks. Yeah.
and armament and
Not white
so
trucks.
They're actually just
not
trying to
white
protect
trucks.
their,
They are actually threatening a full-out invasion. Yeah.
Oh, good. Thank God.
they're just protecting the shipment of medicine and food that they're bringing to the starving Ukrainian people. They might occupy their government just to get it set, you know?
Yeah.
I hope they
I mean,
do take the whole thing.
How mad can we be at Russia for just taking a page out of our fucking book? At least it's their neighbor. Like, we go halfway across the world to occupy some country that doesn't have anything to do with anything.
Yeah, but we call it
Yeah, but-
humanitarian.
Kiev is where modern Russia, or like Russia period, began. I mean, why would you expect them to lay down and just hand it over?
Hey,
I
what
don't
does
know.
what does my bottom third look like? Is it backwards to you guys? Or?
No, it's
Oh,
it's
says-
right.
It says,
right.
"Bitch, Zach Jones."
Dude, it is huge. It looks huge on mine
yeah.
now.
It looks like you got the old one.
All right. I mean, mine is huge, but this.
Zach's lower third is huge.
Yeah.
I got that problem too, Zach. Don't worry about it.
That's what I've heard, Gary. That's what all the ladies in Essex will say.
Yeah.
So, ooh, that Gary White.
Oh.
So I made a video for you guys today.
All right.
We could talk about that a little bit later when we start talking about the flooding and whatever.
Are there tits in it?
You can't use tits.
Yeah.
I think we're still confined by the FCC. Although I would imagine
No, we're not.
Edward Snowden would disagree.
Yeah.
My homie.
Hey, let's talk about what Gary started talking about before we went live about the the how expensive college is.
Oh yeah,
It's
absolutely.
absurd. It's a business. What'd you expect?
It's a slave
Well,
drive.
it's a timely discussion because across the country right now, fall semester is starting for many American students, and even K through 12 students, they're starting to go back right now, and college students are going back right now. Yeah, it's a pretty expensive venture there. Gary, what were you talking about right before we started?
I recently read an article. I wish I put it on Wonderlist for everybody, but yeah, I read all sorts of interesting articles and never put them on Wonderlist for some reason.
Appreciate that.
The heart of the article was that back in the 70s, you could actually work a minimum wage summer job and use that money that you save to pay your college tuition. And I recently got my tuition bill lately, and I don't know. I'm a teacher. I make $40,000 a year, and there's no way I made that much money this summer. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
What are we getting for our money? I guess. Honestly, it should have gotten cheaper since then because a college education in the 70s, 80s, and even 90s was worth much more than it is now.
And there were less people going to school in general, so you think the law of supply and demand would have taken hold. Because there's more demand now, the price should have come down because there's also more supplies. There's more colleges are bigger, so they can offer more programs. But economics doesn't work. Economics doesn't work with education.
Yeah, no.
It's one of those market failures that, unfortunately, governments have to intervene because the market just doesn't correct itself. A lot of conservatives strongly advocate for free market, but this is an excellent example where the industry free market doesn't work.
I was gonna say, Zach, the good news is though we're getting a brand new football stadium and a Division I football team next year. No lie. No lie.
Well, we just got not a brand new stadium, but a brand new field. I don't know if you guys heard.
We need a brand new football team.
Yeah, well, we got a brand new coach. Ron English is out, but Eastern Michigan University now has a gray football field.
What is up with that?
They're nicknaming it the Factory. I guess only 3 or 4 universities across the country have a different colored field than green.
See, they should have called it the sweatshop.
The sweatshop, yeah. Because each one of those nylon blades of grass had to be thrown in by some sweatshop person,
Well, I'm saying the people at top of college football, they're making at least, it's supposed to be non-profit, so $500,000 plus perks, whereas the people actually producing the entertainment make nothing. Oh, I'm sorry, they get tuition.
Yeah. Eastern Michigan spends $30 million on our athletic program, and we have less than 1,000 student athletes. So that means we spend about $30,000 a student athlete.
That's unfucking real.
Right, and on top of this, 17 million of that 30,000 30 million comes from tuition. So students are directly subsidizing the athletic program. Another 13 million comes from donations, and when they play big teams like Michigan State or Ohio State or something like that, they get TV revenues from that. But
so if they were the cupcake on the schedule all season, then they do all right.
Right, yeah, but they have to play other teams in the MAC, and then they get trounced by them all year round. So
That reminds me of Central Michigan.
yeah, the big problem I have though is, my mom told me this story when she was just graduated from college. She had met my dad right after. Well, they had known each other prior to her graduating college, but when they graduated college, they started getting serious about getting married and whatnot. And she told my dad, "I'm not going to marry you until my college debt is paid off." 6 months later, they were married because it only took them, a tuition or a full year of college only cost her $600.
Unreal.
Wow.
This is back in the early 70s. She graduated in 72, I think. So early 70s, college was and she went to Western for her undergrad, and then went to CMU for her master's. $600 a year. You know, that's $300 a semester. That's what I pay for in books in a semester.
Yeah, I think my master's is gonna cost like 40,000 or something like that.
Screw that.
Well, yeah, and Rachel and I, my wife and I, we're gonna be $200,000 in debt when we graduate.
But see, my strategy is not to pay it.
We're just the same altogether.
Yeah, well, and that includes 2 master's degrees, well, 3 master's degrees, 2 of mine, 1 of hers, plus a PhD program because the PhD program was unfunded. So, plus Rachel's bachelor's degree. My bachelor's degree was paid for by Uncle Sam because I was in the military. So, but everything else has been, you know. So I'm gonna. Fortunately, there are programs where I can pay 10 years if I don't miss a single payment for 10 years. They cancel the rest of my my debt, which is really cool. So I'm going to get into that program.
Is that of the Obama administration's?
Yeah, it was new during the. Oh, you know what? Actually, I think Bush actually passed it, but it went into effect. So Bush passed the law, but it went into effect when Obama took office. So.
Another great thing to add to George W. Bush's legacy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, I was reading Elizabeth Warren just had a
That's who I'm.
press conference, or she had a speech someplace where she announced that right now the U.S. government, or in the United States, we're $1.1 trillion in student debt. $1.1 trillion. That's a quarter of our entire, that amount of money is a quarter of our entire national budget every year. If we could just get rid of that debt, if we could just absolve that debt or forgive that debt, imagine all that money that could go back into the economy. All those recent graduates who could start their own businesses or buy a house or buy a car to get to work and stuff like that.
Oh,
you know.
The only thing is, though, you say erase that debt, though. How many people took that debt and just said, fuck you? Like, I got a true story to tell you. When I graduated college, I was either not working or waiting tables or did some bullshit, so I just chose to ignore all those letters I got from financial aid. And then after a couple, 2 years maybe of not paying, then I took my deferment, so they forgave those 2 years. So I guess if there's any young kids listening, this is what you should do. Wait till you need good credit, and then get the deferment, and then let them forgive the last 2, 3, 5 years, and say, fuck it. Like, my plan is, you know, I've caught up, made my payments for a while, I'm going to get deferred in college, borrow another 40 grand. I'll string along those payments long enough to buy a house and maybe another car or something, just tell them to fuck off.
Yeah,
No,
I'm doing a similar thing too. In fact, what Zach had said, there's something I saw additional. It's a different one. They create a payment plan based on your income, but here's the caveat: if when you are making enough money to actively participate in a full amount, you know that was original, say your $200 a month type fee, well. You would be able to. Now, why are you drinking Oktoberfest?
Why wouldn't I?
But if you choose to pay at regular amounts, then you can switch in at any time. Where'd you get Youngling? Man, I'm so distracted by beer.
Silverback brought it over the other day. Yeah,
I don't even know what I'm drinking. It's Loose Cannon.
I got the Kraken.
Very nice. Very nice, Ray.
Does anybody have a...
I've got Burger King, Coca-Cola. Burger King, Coca-Cola.
Dangerous beverage on the panel, ladies and gentlemen.
Which is eventually going to be...
Canadian company, huh?
Which is eventually going to be a Canadian company owned by Tim Hortons.
Yeah, what is up with that?
They're paying lower taxes, man. That's what's up with that.
Well,
All
they're not
American
really,
companies
they're
are
not
gonna
really
go to
paying
Canada.
lower taxes.
26%.
Well, okay, so that's a good point. The capital gains tax for a business is 35%, which seems pretty high. But the realistic tax that they actually pay after all the loopholes and everything like that, most companies on average only pay 6%. So, the companies going over to Canada, and a lot of Americans are pissed off saying, oh, you're going there to avoid the tax here in the United States. Chances are Burger King doesn't pay a fucking tax anyways. Or they pay such a little tax that it's insignificant, the difference that they get. What's probably happening is Tim Hortons is a growing, strong company. Burger King is not. Burger King is closing stores nationwide. So I think this is a chance for them to, and I'm not trying to defend Burger King, don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But I think it's a chance for them to save their company. I don't think it's for a tax. I don't buy that argument. I think that's an argument from, because what I don't understand is who would make that argument. Republicans are all about free market, and go where the taxes are lowest. That just demonstrates that we need lower taxes here in the United States. And Democrats should be all about personal liberties, and a company wants to do this. And plus, Canada's awesome according to Democrats. So I don't understand who's behind this argument.
I don't understand who gives a shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
we don't want to lose all our Burger King jobs, right?
Right. Yeah.
Those are supposed to be the $15 an hour jobs.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
Wyoming.
the tax move that this is called tax inversion. However, since the law has been there that allows this to happen, only 20 companies nationwide have actually ever used this. So it's not like it's a real big problem in American corporations. 20 businesses, only 2 of them you've ever heard of. Caterpillar did it, and now Burger King has done it. All the other ones were small tech firms that no one's ever heard of before. So,
well, don't you think the slippery slope will lead that to more American businesses going to Canada to avoid the taxes?
I mean, it could, but when Caterpillar went, they were in a downward spiral. They were actually on the verge of declaring bankruptcy, and by switching to, I think they ended up going to one of the Cayman Islands. They were able to avoid bankruptcy, and Burger King is on and Caterpillar has come back. They've actually gotten stronger. They have moved a lot of their factories overseas, but the company didn't go bankrupt.
They grew into a butterfly and just flew like a motherfucker.
Good point, Scott. Absolutely. I think it's funny that they're worried about. I guess sometimes I look like I'm playing both sides of the issue, but I just more like to point out funny shit, I guess. We're pissed off that Burger King wants to move to Canada, right? But it's okay for us to pass NAFTA, which was under Clinton, and go and just completely destroy the lives of all the Mexican farmers, and then want to shoot them when they cross the border.
Well, shoot their children.
How much does Burger King moving to Canada really affect our lives? But when we passed NAFTA and the free trade agreement, we destroyed the lives of God knows how many Mexican farmers.
Right.
Well, how many Michigan manufacturing?
Well, yeah, and it's not like Burger King is going to move their Burger King store to Canada.
Well, and they're Burger King.
It's not like it's going to. You know what? We're going to leave Ypsilanti and move to Windsor because we'll get more money over there. No, they're going to leave the store in Ypsilanti and build one in Windsor. So.
Well, for Christ's sake, they're Burger King. They belong in the Commonwealth, not here.
Yeah,
they kicked King George out of here. We don't need no Burger King.
I'm just waiting for the burger with the donut for the bun. That's the next thing, right? That's.
You got a good point there.
I tell you, when I was in Canada the other day to help a friend move, and I went to Dunkin' Donuts. No, I went to Tim Hortons there, and they have this donut called the Oreo donut. So it's a cream-filled donut with Oreos crushed on top of it. The best donut I've ever had in my life.
That sounds intense.
You got me. You lost me at cream.
Al, you joke about the donut burger. You see that. You do actually see those at some food fairs and county fairs.
Yeah.
Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme had one of those.
KFC actually marketed the Double Down, which was
chicken.
Remember,
chicken
instead of
buns.
bread, they just give you more fried chicken. So it's like,
Oh yeah, it was fried chicken as the buns, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like fried chicken holding fried chicken on fried chicken with a side of fried chicken or something. Right. Or the
Mike
KFC bowl.
Tyson's the CEO of that company.
Yeah, the KFC bowl.
But chicken's good for you, isn't it?
Are you sure
Oh, yeah,
Michelle
absolutely.
Obama didn't put that on the school lunch?
What?
No brown bags.
Only
Where
the
are we
colonel.
going with that?
Only
You
the
know,
colonel.
let me-
Chicken.
I don't know.
It is.
I may have mentioned this on the show before, but before and after Michelle Obama, we still serve Doritos because they're made out of corn, so it's considered a vegetable.
Well, it's a subsidy. They have to protect the subsidies.
This is a real thing. I put my hand on the Bible. Well, not that that means shit, but
Well, you put it on Jim Thorpe's beard. That's good enough.
yeah. I swear.
There you go,
On
Judah. Just touch the
Thorpe's
screen. Just touch the screen, Judah.
Wow, I think I've been healed. Holy fuck.
It don't look like it.
But yeah, oh yeah, I guess you're right. Let me have another beer. But anyways, I don't know. Point taken. Point set, I guess.
Hey, might I add a commercial here in case you want to get paid for this? This Sam Adams here. If you buy it, I text Gary about it, but if you text a certain number, they'll send you like a free beer stein. It's pretty awesome.
Not bad.
How many digits?
You don't even have to buy it to get it. Just
I might have to do that. They can have my contact info. I'm really good at screening my calls.
yeah. If I'm gonna give my
Dude,
contact info to anybody, it's gonna be a beer distributor.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I'm probably not going to turn away a phone call from Sam Adams if they're going to call me
No.
about stuff. You know, and they just want to shoot the shit with me. I'll take their call. Yeah.
And I'm sure all they're gonna do, all they're fishing for, is that they're gonna give you their 15-cent awesome beer stein and
Yeah.
send it to you. But they're gonna get your email. Whoop-de-doo. You unsubscribe after a couple and you're done.
Right. I
I'm
applied
gonna-
to a job.
Maybe
I applied to a job yesterday, and it was for a photo booth attendant. The guy who would do photo booths at weddings or whatever. Well, the photo booth actually has a data management thing where they actually you punch in all this information. You have to punch in all this information in order to like utilize the photo booth. And they were using that as like on their website. They're using that as like a selling point to get these photo booths in your company or business or whatever, so you can get extra information about your employees or it was weird. It was very Big Brother, very Orwellian, I guess.
Dude, I can see that being really successful at malls. Like a mall would probably
Yeah.
want something like that, so they know who's shopping and when to send them like little discounts to come shop more and shit like that.
That happens. There's a couple of apps that I used to use. One was called Supply, and the other one was I
Demand.
can't remember what the other one was. But I mean, eBay bought Supply, right? Supply was pretty much it was like Pinterest for dudes, their own stuff you were going to own. Well, the guy who created this app, he was the guy who started Vimeo, a couple other bigger
Good site.
bigger sites and stuff like this. So they sell it off to eBay. I go to use the app the other day. And it's like this is not going to be we're not going to keep this app alive. eBay has bought us. So I'm like, oh great, now eBay knows everything that I either own or want.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's
There's
freaking
something else
awesome.
I want to bring up on the show. I don't know if I should be afraid. Amazon is rolling out their same-day service in Atlanta.
I saw that.
And I saw they're also asking for approval to test drone flight deliveries.
Oh yeah.
Should I be afraid or not?
No, you need a shotgun, and then you can say you blow that fucker up, and you'll be on the news. You'll be like, "Oh, that son of a bitch came right down on me. I thought it
That
was
is a
right
really
for us.
cool, man. It's like the ultimate claw game, except for you're shooting Amazon droids out of the sky, ripping open the package, like, yeah. What
It sounds
I
like a good
thought-
thing for paintball.
Oh, some Harlequin romance novels for $3.99.
Dude, Amazon in Seattle, Washington, and I think one other city, maybe San Francisco, they have Amazon Grocery. So you can actually,
Yeah.
it's on the same principle as their same day, but you can order a bunch of stuff. That same day, they'll bring it to you in a cooler box and put it on your front door.
I'm gonna
And
say,
it's
I
all
hope I get my
perishable
raw
stuff.
chicken in 24 hours, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, that's a you know, they may start delivering that stuff. You know, like if you need a carton of milk, deliver it by drone. You know, that'd be kind of cool to shoot the carton of milk out of the sky.
Yeah, well.
So-
If we could just legalize marijuana, then you know.
Then you can buy marijuana through Amazon.
drone delivery with like little
Oh.
artillery shells, guns around the prevent.
Well, you know,
people at 8 Mile trying to
trademarking
steal
this
your
app.
stash.
I'm
They're all
gonna
gonna have AC cameras that I
gonna
can
have
read my
you.
text messages on my phone. I'm sure.
I'm
You
gonna
know, just for
trademark this
safety of the
already.
robot.
They're gonna deliver marijuana. It's gonna be called Flying High Service.
The next shooting
Well,
of an
I'm
unarmed black man by a robot brought to you by Amazon.
Yeah.
They gotta set it up with an app though. It's gotta be an app. So when
Yeah.
I'm drunk,
Flying High.
if I'm drunk and I'm passed out somewhere in a field, I can just go to the app,
It's
fire
got
up the pedal I
location.
want or need, and the drone literally can deliver it to me anywhere I am. So I could be, you know, out in the field somewhere, get the munchies, and just boom, hey, bring me some frickin' food.
Dude, you could also do that with like a wake-up call. You could be like, you know what, I'll have the Amazon drone come and cattle prod me to wake me up in the morning.
Or fire many Hellfire missiles in my front yard to wake me up.
Yeah.
Tim Hortons gonna send me Canadian bacon and a black coffee over the border.
Yeah.
Well, the way
Do you
this
know what they're-
technology is going, guys, it's probably going to happen within the next 10 years. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but it's like 10,000 feet before airplanes can start flying. Like that's their area of traffic. So within 10,000 feet to 80 feet is where the drones will be flying. So I imagine, you know, there's already a confrontation with people who, like in the Bay Area, people are bitching that they're putting those wind turbines and they're like taking up the horizon and like becoming an eyesore. If drones were all over the place, I think you'd have the same same backlash. You know,
The first time they hit a seagull,
care less.
Peter's gonna be all over that shit, dude.
Well, and there are gonna be those little helicopter things with like 5 propellers up, you know, like
Yeah.
the Ospreys, the Marines Ospreys. That's what it's gonna be like.
Hey Wally, you know what they're doing with them? The paparazzi are doing with them, right? They're hovering over like celebrities' houses and stuff, and they can stop it. They're filming down through windows. They're filming in the backyards. They're doing all kinds of stuff.
Boobies
Yeah.
at the beach.
Nice.
Well, I know you have, as far as property rights, you do have a certain elevation, and each state has their own different rules about this, but then the federal government has a rule too, like how high up you actually own. Does anyone know what that distance is? Ray, you said 80
I
feet,
thought it was
but
80, I thought 80 feet was like the residence level, you know, like
right.
where
But
you
what
live
if you own a
here, it's
skyscraper?
80
It's got to be
feet.
higher than that, you know.
There's
Yeah, I
probably
mean,
there's zoning rights though. I mean, you can't build a skyscraper in the middle of a fucking
Yeah,
neighborhood.
residential area.
Yeah. So
Oh.
does that mean the right to a resident actually has less rights to airspace property as a commercial business has rights to airspace
Well,
property?
corporations have more religious rights than humans, so you know, might as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, money is.
I think I've discovered a new game. You sit in your driveway drinking beer with your gun. Well, not that you'd be drinking beer with a firearm, but and you order something to your neighbor's house from Amazon, and you shoot that fucker, see if you can hit it when it's coming down.
That would also involve having your neighbor's credit card, though. So,
No,
don't
no,
think
that's
Well, you can deliver to anywhere. I send books to my relatives all the time. So.
But
Why
if
would
you
we,
pay
like,
for it-
accidentally put in the wrong.
Jack, if you pay for it yourself, then what's the point of shooting the fucking robot? and taking
That's why I use my wife's credit card for that.
So would you have to pay for Patriot insurance?
What's that?
You'd have to pay for Patriot insurance. People
Patriot
that are shooting them
insurance.
down.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That might be another
Yeah.
glitch right there in the market.
That's actually not a bad idea. We should actually start an insurance company where we sell insurance policies in case a drone gets shot down over your house and the drone crashes into your house
It's not a bad gig.
or
Maybe.
into your car or other property.
Start ordering gasoline for my car.
I know that there's a. I'm a photographer, and there are laws for people that use do photography with drones. Like you can't sell the photography. You can't sell the video you use on the drone, there's a way of getting around it. You sell the editing time, but
That's awesome.
the law is that you can't sell the video via drone specifically for the video content.
What?
Does anybody
Yeah.
That's a law?
editing time
I
on
think that I believe that's a law. I think that went into law. I want to say like 3 or 4 months ago.
That's an American law. That doesn't.
I need to buy some editing time on
It has something to do with cattle ranchers or something like that. I don't
Oh,
exactly know.
well, there is. Okay, so I know what you're talking about. There is a law that was passed that prevents animal activists from recording either by long-range telescopic lenses or by drones, recording anything that's happening on an animal farm or an animal factory or things like this. Part of the reason why is these meat producers don't want you to know how bad they treat the animals before they slaughter them.
Christ, Zach, did you just memorize Google? Like, how do you know all this shit?
I read the news.
Well, actually, the rule about filming cows with drones, like, what newspaper is that in?
It's on Reddit. I spend too much time on Reddit. Is what I do.
I'll look
spent
it up
so
real
much
quick.
time.
Let's see if I can find it.
I need to see your subreddit list, man. I want to know what you
Yeah.
subscribe to.
Well, I have to take off all the NSFW and the Real Girls and the amateur stuff before
I'll send you
I
mine
share it with
via
you.
email. As long as you don't as long as you don't subscribe to Space Dicks or anything like that, we should
No,
be
I
okay.
don't.
Hey, Al.
Yeah.
On a sports note, I ran into a friend of mine who he has MLB.com. Through his iTunes, he can listen to the games live through an MLB app for like $10 for the whole
Yep.
season.
Yeah,
know
that's
that?
what I got, man. I've been using it for a while. It's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is
I love how I
awesome.
mentioned Space Dicks and Scott's like, speaking of sports.
Yeah.
No. Space Dicks, not Space Jam. Al, I wanted to ask you a question.
Uh-huh.
One of the major companies just bought up Twitch. What is Twitch? What do they do? It's
I have no idea.
a tech
Oh, it's an
company.
app. I just learned about this recently. Hold on. I'm doing two things at once here.
You want me to tell you? It's an app
Yeah.
that films video games.
Is that what it
Films
is?
video games.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, that was the original intent, was people that want to stream video games, they would get on Twitch and watch video games, but now it's the same company that ran Justin.tv, which is where I used to illegally watch NFL games quite often.
Yeah, I remember
So-
Justin.tv.
But Justin.tv ran Twitch, but now Justin.tv is being ended, and Twitch is just kind of going to encompass more things than just video games.
Apparently here it says Amazon is buying Twitch for
Okay, so-
$970 million.
Yeah, that's almost
Holy
$1 billion.
shit.
So what is
Twitch is
when you
something
say
to do.
when you say streaming video games, you mean instead of me owning the video game on my own device, I'm actually playing it through a third-party
No, it's
server.
actually not even that cool, Zach. There's actually
Oh.
people that are big enough video game nerds. Well, they will sit and watch somebody else play video games.
What?
Yep,
And
that is.
it's
That's what it
popular
is.
enough to the point where Twitch is worth fucking X amount of billions.
Oh my God, that's like standing behind someone at the arcade and watching
Right.
them play a game. And
People are serious
there's an
about
actual
this shit,
service for
though.
that? Wow.
You know,
And
people are
it's
really
afforded
serious about their
to
video
those-
games. There's $1 million Call of Duty tournaments. ESPN too, I think, even covered some recent video game tournament. It's an emerging industry in America. I mean, the video game industry actually pulls in more money than the movie industry.
Or the,
You know,
or
I
the
guess
television.
that kind of makes sense if you think about it. We sit around and watch other people play baseball or other people play football. Why not sit around and watch other people play video games?
I would rather watch a cool video game than a baseball game.
So let me read
Really?
this. It says
I hate baseball.
Twitch, you are not only getting a thriving game environment, you also have a place where communities and individuals like to have conversations. Twitch has its own messaging service as well as chat clients set up for users to take advantage of. It even uses text message alerts to tell you when a channel is going live. So
that reminds me.
these are all individual gaming channels, you know.
Yeah. That reminds me of, I had this really hot girlfriend who liked to play video games, and I would just sit there and watch her. That was pretty hot. That's a real
And when
story.
you finger banged her, she
Right.
twitched.
Okay, so are you,
Pretty
watching,
awesome.
are you actually watching
Correct,
the
Twitches.
people playing, or are you watching the screen that they're looking at?
You're watching the screen. For sure.
I think you're watching
so
the screen. Yeah.
I believe
like Halo
I
and
believe their
shit,
screen is
those
hooked up
videos.
live to their what they're viewing on their game.
And can you interact with them? Like, can you say,
Yeah,
bad
I'm
shot,
looking at a
fucker?
screenshot right here. Yeah, it's just like that. There's like a chat window on one side. There's the you're looking at the actual gameplay. There's the picture of the guy who's playing the game, and people are commenting on that all.
I bet you people use that to help them get through levels, to help them get better at games.
Yeah,
you know?
probably, and going through
yeah.
it quickly.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure that's
Almost
true,
like a
but
game.
there really is this competition. Like, I have a friend who
That
he
Call of
really wants to
Duty's
compete in the
ridiculous.
Call of Duty the tournaments, but he can't quite get the team together that he needs, you know. And there is a community there where there's people with certain Xbox and PlayStation gamer tags, and people know those people as the best players in the world. And there is almost a small following and a big enough subsection of this population that loves video games, know good people that are good at it, and kind of idolize them and would like to watch them play for free.
That's pretty interesting. It's nothing I would have ever thought of before, or even think there was a market for it. But apparently a $900 million market, that's pretty impressive.
All right, so I found the law. I found the law for the drone, specifically in Michigan.
Oh, it's the Michigan one.
Well, no, there's more. Every state has their own different one, and I'm looking at one right now that for Michigan, and I can read that to you.
That's all right. I believe you.
Okay, but it's interesting because it's interesting. It says there's two parts of it. One part is an individual must also give consent about whether or not they're going to record a person.
I've heard about consent to receive a package.
Now, here's the weird one. Though. It kind of weirds me out. Requiring state officials to get legislative approval before acquiring a UAV, the bill makes provisions for the authorization and regulation of the use of unmanned vehicles and make it illegal to arm a drone craft with legal force within state boundaries.
Oh, well, that's good.
What if a woman's driving it?
So they
Or
They
an
can't mount a gun. They can't
What
mount
if
a
it's an
gun.
Asian? Are there going to be stereotypes about Asian drivers of these things, or
Al, you might have heard of
I
this.
changed lanes
You
now.
have
Good
to
luck,
have-
everybody.
You have to have consent to deliver your package. Otherwise, you're a legal issue.
Otherwise, there's lots of trouble that happens if you.
You can't fly him a six-pack and then deliver your package. That's not a good thing.
I'm just worried when they try and do this in Ferguson, because the cops are just going to shoot those motherfuckers.
I mean, the
Stop
Russian
resisting.
cops.
The Russian,
Hey, this
Stop
is
resisting robot helicopter.
Russian peacekeepers in Ferguson.
I was going to talk to you guys about this. I heard a story today. These cops now are wearing cameras all the time now,
Yeah.
and there were a couple of people they talked to in Ferguson about how do we solve this problem with cops, and
That's the liberal solution right there.
Here's
Couple
the
homies.
real solution. What they need to do is just shoot a couple unarmed white guys in a row. Just like 3 or 4 one day.
Wasn't there?
Just to even it out a little.
Call it even.
Maybe throw in a Hispanic,
mix it up a
and,
little bit.
we'll stop.
Half of an Asian. Just shoot an Asian in his shoulder,
Well, I believe
But
there was
like a Caucasian Hispanic, though, not like
Yeah.
a brown Hispanic.
But I was thinking, that capturing every part of the existence. They said you get the video but not the audio. So I'm like, okay, what's the point of that? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about hey, let's strap cameras on everybody,
Right.
and that'll
though,
solve a problem.
I think I agree with the camera thing, because I am so distrustful of police officers.
Oh.
I mean, I even have a first cousin who's a cop, and I think he would take liberties with the law if he could, if he knew he could get away with it. But when there's a camera on you, you're not going to be able to get away with stuff.
That's
you know?
right.
Because
That's right.
Freedom of
I like
Information Acts will be able to request
Exactly.
those cameras, imaging, and whatnot. So
Well, the
You know, I
funny thing is,
understand
it's actually
having,
will
I
get
could
away with it,
understand
'cause they
having,
do.
I could understand having the audio off if you were not engaged in, with a civilian. But as soon as you start a traffic stop or any action with a citizen, you should have that audio.
and they could design like a holster that as soon as he pulls out or even unstraps the snap on it or pulls the gun out, it automatically turns on the audio. I mean, they have the technology. They could Blu-ray that shit with a chip easy,
I actually
Not Blu-ray,
heard
but
something.
Bluetooth it,
I heard something on the radio too. That was a point. Is the police are being trained like military style, command and control.
Well, because they're getting federal aid. Because
Right.
they're getting federal aid. They're getting federal major.
Well, that's just it.
federal
There's a
equipment.
guy. You guys definitely heard about this, just passingly, I'm sure. But somewhere, some guy had a knife recently, and he was, crazy. And the cops were like 5 feet away, and they blew him away. And the guy on the radio had a good point.
That was in Ferguson.
Yeah,
he's
he was charging
why
the
were
police officer.
why were the police that close? Why wouldn't you back away 30 yards and talk to the guy? But now they're taught to command the situation and control it. Why
No,
were
I
they
don't
that
think
close
they-
to the guy?
I think the guy was suicidal, and so
Well,
are
that's
the cops
fine.
just going to shoot every suicidal person that purposely calls them?
No,
or bring
but if you
attention to
back up
himself?
30 yards or 30 feet or something, you're not that close to the guy. You're not going to get stabbed. You can
And maybe
kill
use
the
a
guy before he gets
Maybe
to
use
you.
a taser?
Well, not
No,
just that,
tasers.
but I mean, he was also shot in the street. So the cop could have, when he pulled up to the scene, positioned it so the car was between him and the perp.
Right, exactly.
There is that 21-foot rule where it only takes 5 seconds for somebody to cross 21 feet.
Sure.
And with the knife, that could be really fast. It could be faster than the police officer could
And they
get
said
out his
that.
gun.
They said
But
it would have
this
been
is what I don't
3
understand.
seconds.
Is the gun was already out. His gun was already out. So
Mine would be 2.
You
Mine
know,
would
he
be
did-
2.
Because the
So-
guy with the knife
Al, are you
said,
raising your hand?
Shoot me, shoot me.
So that 21-foot rule doesn't exist because the gun is already out. That 21-foot rule applies to when the gun is still holstered. It takes 5 seconds for somebody to cross 21 feet. It takes about 5 seconds for a cop to get his gun out of the holster and aim it and take the safety off.
I don't think
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
fair.
But if your gun is already out, that 21-foot rule doesn't even exist anymore.
Your gun should be out anyways. These police officers probably have kids or they have their own life, irregardless.
If they have
Yeah.
kids,
Fact is,
they gotta worry though, man. You hear about that freaking 9-year-old shooting that dude with the Uzi?
yeah, dude. Yeah, that's terrible.
That's just natural selection.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear about Mr. Taylor?
Mr.
Dylan
Taylor.
Taylor? Dylan Taylor, he was the white and Hispanic man shot by a black cop in Utah this week.
I did hear about that.
Had no coverage at all.
Yeah.
Because there is an agenda here, guys.
There is, for sure there is.
Wait,
Absolutely.
there's a black cop in Oklahoma? I don't believe that.
No, Utah.
Even crazier.
Even worse.
Utah.
Oh, Utah. Well, that
No
makes more
way.
sense.
The Mormons, there's actually a lot of black Mormons. A lot.
Yeah, well, since Joseph Smith said they could come in 1978.
Well, sure. I'm going to show you what
Yeah,
happened.
Gold plates, man. They all said it all.
The gold plates.
They melted it down and put it in their teeth.
Dumb.
Dum 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 dum.
We got this really nice lake here. You can't drink out of it, but stop by.
See, that's what Fox News needs to really concentrate on, though, is the black guy shooting the Mexican. You know, that's where they need to divert their attention.
I agree.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the agenda is that they want a black. They want to anger the blacks so that they can vote for a Democrat come election time.
I believe that is certainly part of it.
They want to anger the
so
blacks.
Missouri has a
Anger the
Republican
Mexicans.
governor, is that right?
What
Is
do you
there
say?
even
Sure.
so
I don't
Missouri
think
has
it
a
matters.
Republican governor right now? Is
I
there
can-
is there even a gubernatorial election coming up for?
I wouldn't even
Them
worry
right
about
now?
Missouri.
I don't know. I have to check that.
I mean, because that's where Ferguson is in Missouri. So
Yeah.
is it? I mean, one, do they have a Republican governor, and two, is there even a gubernatorial election? Because if there's not a gubernatorial election this cycle, they'll
Well,
have forgotten
you know,
about
let's
it. by
put
the
it
time
this way,
next
Well,
time
that
comes
wouldn't
around.
have anything. They're not worried about Missouri. Actually.
Let's put it this way. Not too
What
long
about-
ago, a black man
what
in
about
jail
the-
was beaten by a couple cops or a couple jail guards and was charged with property destruction of government property because he bled on their uniforms. So
Yeah, I
if there's a
I heard
race
of this
issue
too,
in
yeah,
Ferguson,
yeah.
it's
That was after he hit him multiple times.
after who hit what?
The police officer kicked the guy from
Yeah, they beat the
Ferguson.
fuck out of him and then charged him for property destruction.
Yeah, because they got the wrong guy. They got the guy. They had the right name, but just not the right guy. And so, instead of just saying, "Oh, let's let him go," let's beat him up, and then until the blood gets on their uniforms, they can charge him. That's how I heard the story.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I
at
mean,
least they learned
I believe it was somebody who's already incarcerated, so they could have just left him behind the fucking bars he was in. Like, they entered his cell, I believe.
Hey,
Mhm.
you know what? There's another subject that I found ridiculous today on Facebook. Some guy, I won't call him an idiot, I'll just say some guy that I know put down that this ISIS militant group needs to be destroyed because they beheaded American and they threatened America. Like, Jesus Christ, let them kill each other is what I said. And he's like, but they killed an American. Jesus Christ, one idiot's over there in a Muslim country when we're at war with it, Islam, and he gets beheaded. What do you think would happen to you if you're over there in a war zone with a bunch of nut jobs? You deserve to be beheaded, you dumbass. Doesn't mean we have to go
The one
kill
doing the
everybody.
beheading was actually British, right? And he moved to Syria?
Oh, that's the guy who beheaded him. I'm talking about the guy who got his head chopped off.
James
Oh,
I'm
Foley.
going to take some pictures of the suffering. Well, guess what? We all know what suffering looks like.
Well,
Welcome
it's
to my-
it's interesting about his family.
I don't
his
cut
family
my
history.
checkbook in half,
It's interesting about his family history. All of his brothers went into the military, became Marines or something, and he didn't want to do that, but he did want to become a photographer and go overseas just like his brothers. But in that format. It's interesting that he found himself in that situation.
So are you saying because he was an action junkie, he deserved the fate he got?
No, what I'm saying is if you go into a war zone with a bunch of Muslim fundamentalists, you should expect that to be a possible outcome of your existence.
Well, having said that,
That doesn't mean we have to bomb the shit out of every Muslim we see.
having said that,
Well,
though,
we're not bombing because of the James Foley. We're bombing because
Well, no, but that's what this
of the
idiot
threat
said.
ISIS has towards the Kurdish North. That's our real
No,
concern.
I
And
totally
you know why
agree.
we're concerned about the Kurdish North? Because there's oil there,
Well, I
and that
understand
oil
that.
is what we're interested in.
Okay, then
But
why
what
didn't
I'm
we...
saying is the propaganda is working on the idiots. You know what I mean?
Didn't we promise to fund a Kurdish invasion and then back out? Like we promised airstrikes, like during the first Iraq War?
Well, yeah, we promised that if they sided with us, that we would support their independence or at least autonomy, and we eventually agreed to just autonomy, not necessarily independence. But there was a huge backlash for the Kurds that live in Turkey, and Turkey does not want the Kurds to have independence or even autonomy because they're worried that the Kurds will create their own Kurdistan, if you will. So,
Well, I think we also
but there's a
agreed
lot of
to
oil there,
airstrikes.
so that's what's that?
No, for
I
sure.
think we also agreed to airstrikes and didn't provide them at the last minute.
Oh, are you talking about the first
talking
one
about
or the second
I'm
one?
talking about the very first one. I'm talking about
Oh.
when Iraq invaded Kuwait. In my understanding, we promised the Kurds if they invaded Saddam Hussein's army, we would provide air support, and we just chose not to, and they got slaughtered and gassed.
Yeah, they did get slaughtered, but what we did do is after the war, we agreed to a
Oh, we
no-fly.
did for you. You're
Oh, we did,
second
but it
surprises.
didn't
Well, we
include
did for them.
helicopters.
we gave them a no-fly zone, so Saddam Hussein wasn't allowed to fly within their region.
No, that's not true either.
Did they send Monty Hall over there? This is your consolation prize. We chose not to give you their support.
They left
Give a no-fly zone.
Well, they left out the fact that helicopters can fucking fly, so they used helicopters to slaughter the Shiites and the Kurds.
Helicopters fly.
Well, I mean, after they already dropped chemical weapons on, and all their children had little deformed Muppet faces. Like,
well, that's just because they're Kurds.
You know,
That's
we
just 'cause
already fucking lied to them and fucked them over, and they all they want to do was
Zuba zuba boom boom.
they want to build they wanted to build a non-religious democratic state in the Middle East, which last time I checked is what we're trying to fucking do all over there that we constantly fuck up.
Yeah.
And we actually have a group of people that want to do that. We promise them shit, don't deliver, and they get gassed and tortured and fucking destroyed.
Might I add a point that maybe you guys, because you guys we're all different politically maybe or whatever, but if Obama could have left a few thousand troops there. He could have got a deal for that. But he didn't because of politically what he was voted in for. And if we had 5,000 to 10,000 U.S. troops just chilling in the middle of nowhere, ISIS would not have gotten what they got now. They wouldn't even have thought about going into attack because we would have wiped the shit out of them.
I foresee ISIS being in the United States fairly shortly. You know, the southern border is completely wide open. You know,
Florida?
Texas.
And Cubans. Damn Cubans.
I've heard that
ISIS is coming through Florida.
they found people from Iran. They found people from Pakistan. It's not just Mexicans.
Well, somebody's got to make our slushies.
You know what, though? There was that threat with the Taliban and with Al-Qaeda. ISIS is no different than these fuckers. You know, I'm not worried about them. And if you look at their numbers, they're actually really small in number. They don't have a lot of... they're not nearly as big as what Al-Qaeda was at Al-Qaeda.
But you know what, though? Ray brings up an interesting point because it really only takes one asshole to fuck up a ton of shit. I mean, look at George Bush.
We're a reactionary society.
So,
but you know what?
It takes
I put on this guy's
from ISIS or wherever to slide into Mexico, slide up the border, and fuck some shit up.
But you know, right before I saw this guy's post, I read a post about heart disease. Kills like over 500,000 people in this country every year. And then he's like, ISIS must be eliminated. And I thought, you know, if one whack job takes down a building, it maybe kills $1,000. You know, how much in billions of dollars in military hardware and soldiers are we going to use to take this people out? We could take that money, funnel it into funding to help scientific research on heart disease and cures or whatever.
Yeah.
Instead we're gonna spend all this money on something that's not even really a threat to human life on a grand scale. It's such a waste.
The first Iraq War the second Iraq War and Afghanistan combined over the 10 years or the 11 years that we were actually over there, we spent almost $1 trillion over there. That could have wiped out student debt for all Americans and paid for colleges, fully funded scholarships for everyone. Or we could have completely paid for universal health care for all Americans. I mean, there's just so much of we could have rebuilt every bridge 10 times at 10 times, all the roads and bridges. We could have, we could have had a high-speed rail system throughout the entire United States for that amount of money.
But, one thing I want to bring up, though, is, a lot of Americans think the Taliban, ISIS, they hate freedom, right? They hate our democracy, our choices. They hate our short skirts and our fucking nudie mags. But in reality, don't they really just hate our support of Israel and Saudi Arabia and the fact that we have soldiers in Iraq and Afghanistan, and if we got rid of those four things, they wouldn't give a flying fuck about us?
No,
we just got to work
nobody go that far.
Local terrorists?
You should read the religious text. It doesn't say that.
No. Hey, do you guys, about a week ago, did you hear about a week ago that they're talking about Vegas being a target?
Because it's Sin City?
Pretty much, yeah. That and like Ray was saying, it's close to the border down south.
It's like a bunch of
That's a good one. That's good.
Catholics from the
Good point.
1500s.
But I don't know. What do you think? What do you think, Zach? Do you think they hate our freedom and our short skirts?
Yeah,
and that's
I do think they. I mean, it's a very generalized statement, but I really think that they are ideologically opposed to democracy. They want the clerics
No
to
doubt.
rule with an iron fist, and they don't want people making decisions on their own. They don't want that freedom of choice for people.
Well, where does that begin, you know?
Well, oh yeah, I know where it begins. It
Right.
comes from a perverted interpretation of the Quran. You know, and I think we forget quite often. Muhammad himself, he was a warlord.
He was.
He wasn't a. I mean, yeah, he claims he was a prophet, but he was also a warlord.
He was a talented
And-
warlord, though.
No,
Was
he
he?
wasn't. He
Was he
slaughtered.
murdered?
He absolutely
slaughtered
was.
thousands of
He
people.
murdered thousands of people.
Every warlord murders thousands of people, but if you wanted to be a Christian under his empire, you just paid more taxes. If you want to be a Christian in fucking Syria right now, they cut your head off. So, I mean, Muhammad was much less extreme than
I don't
what's
doubt
going on
that
right now.
Muhammad I don't doubt that Muhammad cut some fucking heads off, and then when he got to the beautiful women and the little kids, he said, "Hey, throw me some cash, give me that ass, and we'll be fine."
Hey, you know what? He did bang 13-year-olds, and he fucking held people at sword point that were generals and made them convert. But overall, you could be a Christian in Muhammad's empire, his territory.
Here's one entertainment fact we should interject that Gary pointed out to me this week. The Duke, John Wayne, was Genghis Khan, and his voice didn't change. What if he was Muhammad, the prophet, and his voice didn't change? Listen here, you.
Well, that
Christian.
was a hell of a prophetic flight through Israel.
Pull out or get out, lady. I'm gonna have to push for that. CGI could do that, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Oh
absolutely.
my God!
Absolutely.
That's it right there. Man.
Some green screen, maybe a
Scarlett
John Wayne
Johansson,
impersonator, some chicks.
thin little robe.
Well, he rode so many horses, we could easily Photoshop a camel underneath him instead of a horse.
Maybe
We
we
could
could
take,
get Taylor
yeah.
Swift to play Asia, his 13-year-old wife,
Yeah.
or the youngest Kardashian daughter.
Oh, you know, there's gonna be a fatwa put out on all five of us. So.
Yeah, it's a goddamn thing about him.
I welcome
you
Only
guys
the
do.
twa part is part of it. I can put a twa on me.
At least that means people are listening.
Oh, man.
I don't know. Probably
Climate
not.
change. What about climate change? Anybody know about climate change?
Well, Obama passed some law that calls it.
President Obama to you, Ray.
Emperor
Yeah,
without
Muhammad Obama.
clothes.
You outlawed climate change.
Yeah.
It's called global warming. It's now called actual climate change, and he passed over Congress. Just one of those executive laws.
Well, you just tweak that treaty. You know that treaty that you don't change that got passed? Well, you just tweak it, and you don't have to worry about that apparently.
Well,
You're talking about Kyoto Protocol?
I know what you're talking about. He passed an executive order that just said, in all government literature, instead of referring to it as global warming, from now on refer to it as global climate change. So it's not. It doesn't change the science behind what it is. And
Was
in
that
reality,
before or after we introduced freedom fries?
Freedom Fries and John Wayne Muhammad.
I am the greatest.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, gents, it seems like we've sort of wrapped up everything we were here to talk about. I think our Wonder List this past week was a little weak, so let's
Yes.
Hey, can we clear everything out
Can
of
we
it?
get rid of some
Yeah,
of those?
let's just clear everything out and start fresh. How about we do that?
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yep.
I'll go through it.
I'll go in there and I'll delete everything out and we'll
You
start
will?
from
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, Al, you and I need to sit down and talk about posting all this stuff to all the different social networks that we're affiliated with, because I don't think we've actually made this available for people on YouTube channel, on SoundCloud, or anything like that in a while. So.
What night? This, it is a long weekend here. What do you have big plans for the weekend, everybody?
I'll be in Bay City on Monday.
Weekend.
On Monday, you will?
Yeah, I will.
You should come over.
Sure people have their
Okay.
Have a visit, man.
I'll also be up there this weekend, but I'll be in Pinconning the whole weekend. So.
Okay.
That's like 15 minutes away.
That's not far. I'll meet you halfway. Ray and I can meet you halfway. We'll do a blood boiler lunch or something.
Breakfast.
It's only 2,000 miles away. Sunday and Monday, I'm pretty much busy. Other than that, I'm good.
Pick Monday. You said, Ray?
Yeah, I'll be there Monday morning. I would love to come in on Sunday. I just have no place to stay. My dad sold the house, so I don't have a house.
Oh, you can sleep in the studio.
There you go.
There's usually some pussy around there too, Ray. Well, you're married, but
Yeah.
I don't know how happily.
There's a lot of J-Mac DNA all over the place in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might want to scrub the J-Mac off some of the couches.
This is on air, so I love my wife very much. I would never do such a
Of course you do, Ray. We all love our wives.
We love them a long time because we're married to them.
Yeah. All right. Well, why don't we turn this off from live and we'll
do the gym.
We can all stay on for a second and just talk about logistics.
All right. Yeah, give me a 2-minute break.
If I hit stop broadcasting, this is not going to kill us all off, is it?
I think. See where it says live. I think all you have to do is turn that off. Just don't hang up.
Don't worry, I'll click it. It didn't work. You know what I don't like?
What?
Google Plus.
Google Plus.